I think we can safely say at this point that MrBeast is the most successful YouTuber we've ever seen on the platform. So I mentioned a few times in my recent videos that subscriber count isn't really what we should be paying attention to when it comes to successful channels. I know he has less than half as many subscribers as PewDiePie right now, but he's getting about twice as many daily views, and that's with him uploading much less frequently than PewDiePie. So let's take a look into the secrets of MrBeast and figure out just why he's doing so well. Now, a few months ago, he uploaded this video called Videos I Could Not Upload, where he talked all about the videos that he spent tons of time in, even tons of money into, but that he just felt like they weren't good enough to upload, and he ended the video with this.
But I care about you guys and I don't want to upload garbage, and if a video isn't good, I don't upload it.
So it's pretty common whenever we see channels that get tons of views to just be content farms. You know, they're uploading 5 videos per day. They basically just see it as the more videos we put out, the more views we're gonna get. But MrBeast, on the other hand, he's very particular about what he will upload. He wants to make sure that every video is top-notch. I mean, it might seem obvious, but there are a few reasons for this. And it really comes down to, he wants to keep the channel's reputation as high as it can be. Now, if he uploads a few really good videos, and then a few that were like, they were okay, like they were still pretty good, but maybe not great, then it might get into people's mind that like, yeah, MrBeast, like sometimes he's really good, sometimes he's okay, so I don't really know if I want to click on all of his videos. But if he makes sure that every video is as good as it can be, then every time a video goes up, then everyone's going to want to know about it. And I think it also might have an impact on the YouTube algorithm when it comes to your channel. Like, if you upload a video that does not get nearly as many views, it might actually be harder to do well on the video after that, because YouTube saw your last video and said, well, the last one didn't do super great, so we'll see if he can bring it back on the next video. So that's why you want to be really careful about what you upload when you have a channel like this. So now let's take a look at the content that he actually puts up. Now for most channels, if somebody said, what is this channel about? Usually there's a pretty clear answer. Like if someone says, what is my channel about? It's just, I talk about YouTube channels, I talk about how the website works and stuff like that. But if somebody were to ask you, what is MrBeast's channel about? What would you really say? Now, more often than not, whenever you try and have a channel that is just very wide variety, it can be really hard to get it to go anywhere. Usually you have to start out with a niche to get an audience. Like, let's say that I started up a new channel and I released a video just saying, would you rather have $100,000 or this mystery key? That video on a brand new channel probably would not go anywhere because YouTube doesn't understand what category to put this in. It doesn't know what kind of audience would even want to watch it, and so it just doesn't really recommend it to anybody. But luckily, MrBeast has reached the point where his type of content is just viral videos of all kind. The best way I would go about describing his channel's content is just a couple guys looking at each other and saying, hey, wouldn't it be really awesome if we just ... And that's why you have all these videos like, I spent $1 million on lottery tickets, or I bought the world's largest firework, or I spent 24 hours in a doomsday bunker, or I ran a marathon in the world's largest shoes. So yeah, while there's very little similarities between all of these video topics, they're all just kind of random ideas about like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this crazy thing? Now, another thing that I also mentioned in a video a while back where I talked about videos that go viral is that a lot of people love clicking on things that have a big number in the title. And MrBeast knows this better than anybody, especially if it has a $sign in front of that big number. So if you just look through these videos, you got $800,000 there, $1 million there, $50,000, $600,000, $100,000, $1 million, $250,000, $200,000, or even just 100,000 roses. Anytime there's a big number of something, a lot of people are like, ooh, I've never seen that much of one thing before, so it tends to pique a lot of people's interest. Also, there's something I've noticed that he does a lot that can turn a video that maybe wouldn't go very far into something that goes huge. And a lot of the time it seems like he has a cool idea of something he wants to show everybody, but it wouldn't be a good enough title on its own, so he has to turn it into a challenge. Like this one right here, I spent 24 hours in a doomsday bunker. Now there's really nothing special about him spending 24 hours there. I mean, as a doomsday bunker, it's meant to be spent plenty of time in. But if he had just titled that something like, this is the biggest doomsday bunker in the world, or something like that, it probably would not have gotten nearly as many views. Another example I've seen of that is surviving 24 hours straight in a rainforest, or surviving 24 hours on a deserted island. If he had just titled this something like, we got stranded on a deserted island, then it probably would have gotten half the amount of views. But because he turns it into a challenge, and he goes with the whole 24 hours straight challenge, I mean, it makes people a lot more interested to be like, ooh, are they going to survive the full 24 hours? When they first started making a lot of these videos, It probably wasn't even their original plan to do the spend 24 hours there. The 24 hours thing is really just to give it a better title. It doesn't really affect the video much at all. Now, I know some people might think that this channel is just run by MrBeast and his friends, and they just record for a few hours, edit it together, and then throw it up on YouTube. But MrBeast actually has a full team of about 20 to 30 people that run this channel. And so something you also have to consider is that most of these videos, like, while they do come out maybe once every week or two, they are most likely working on probably 4 or 5, maybe even 10 videos at a time. Because a lot of these videos take weeks, even months, to put together. And so, rather than spending weeks and then uploading, and then starting the next one, and then spending weeks on that one, and then uploading, they're typically working on a bunch at a time. Now, when you look at all of the views on these videos, all of them are in the tens of millions. He never uploads a single video that gets less than 10 million views. I mean, not in the past year, at least. And in order to get that kind of view count, you need insane click-through rate. Now, let's be honest, anything with the MrBeast logo attached to it is going to get millions of views. But I can tell you that they spend a lot of time, and they are very specific about making the perfect title and the perfect thumbnail for all of these. And something you'll notice is that most of these videos have very short and to-the-point titles. So, like, I bought a private island. I mean, he could have titled it something much longer, like, I invited a bunch of people to my island and I'm going to challenge them to see who gets to win it, or something like that. I mean, they kind of did that with the second video. But the fact that it's just him standing in front of an island with the $800,000 there and saying, I bought a private island, it's very simple, it's very to the point, and it makes people really interested to figure out what's going on in the video. And this can be a really hard thing to figure out when you're a YouTuber, because sometimes you have like a kind of complex video idea, but you're trying to figure out a more to-the-point title, rather than describing everything out into a really long one. And so like this one right here, spending $1 million in 24 hours. He could have titled that something like, winner of the $1 million prize now finally gets to spend his $1 million. I mean, maybe that's kind of a over-the-top example, but if he had a title like that, it might have cost him a few million views at least. So putting all these things together, figuring out why his click-through rate is so high, is just very simple titles, lots of big numbers in the titles, and coming up with the most simple thumbnail that still describes what the video is about. So anything you can fit in the circle, I'll pay for. And it's just him with the circle and an arrow. Like, that's all you need. It's a very simple concept, and yet it gets 64 million views. Now we've got to figure out how he gets people to keep watching the videos after they click on it. Alright, ready, set, go.
This is the most expensive firework in the entire world, and it cost me over $160,000. And I also bought a $5,000 firework, a $10,000 one, and this big behemoth right here is a $40,000 firework.
Alright, so as you can see here, he jumps right into the point. He doesn't waste a single second. Like, as soon as people click on the video, he is already telling you exactly what's going to happen in the video, and yeah, he really wastes no time getting into it. So compare this to something that a lot of regular YouTubers might do. Like, the video will start, they'll say, hey guys, welcome to my new video. If you would like to, please subscribe and hit the like button. Like, so many people will just fill their first 20 or 30 seconds of their video with pointless nonsense that nobody really needs to hear. When really it's best if you just jump right into it and give them what they clicked on the video for. If you take a look at your analytics for a video, it will show you what percentage of people actually stuck around throughout each part of the video. And something that's really common is that in the first like 10 seconds, you might have like 30 or 40% of people already click off the video. And a lot of that is because maybe you weren't very quick to the point, and maybe people just got bored immediately or they accidentally clicked on it. So yeah, if you're a YouTuber, make sure you do not waste any time at the beginning of your video with some intro, especially if it's just some copy-pasted intro you put on every video. Usually the only time you should ever put any like copy-pasted channel art thing is during the outro. That's usually okay, so you can put like your end screen cards. But yeah, do not fill your intro with stuff like that. But then moving past the intro, so I mean, he could just like jump into the biggest thing all at the beginning, but he wants people to keep sticking around, so he starts with the small stuff. So he starts with just a few of the cheaper fireworks, he sets them off, and then over time, things get crazier and crazier. He starts lighting off more and more expensive batches of fireworks up until the very end, when it's like the biggest stuff he's got. And so you tell people that it's going to keep getting better and better throughout the video, which incentivizes them to keep watching throughout the video, but you also have to keep it interesting throughout the video. So something that some people pointed out that was kind of interesting to me is that with a lot of YouTubers, the channel is all focused around the one person. And I mean, that can work out, but a lot of the time, if you're only watching the one person, like maybe you just kind of get tired of watching that one YouTuber, or it just gets kind of stale because you don't have other people contributing. But with MrBeast's team, he's got 4 or 5 regulars that are in all of his videos. So maybe you're not a huge fan of Jimmy, but you're a big fan of Chandler, or any of the other people that are in his videos. And so when the channel is based around sort of a group of friends, and they've got banter between each other, then it tends to add a lot more entertainment value than one person can do just talking to a camera. So with a lot of his videos, it's just like a bunch of friends just having fun doing crazy stuff together. And so when you're watching all of these genuine reactions, it's easy for you to feel like you are also involved with their group of friends. So now let's take a look at another thing that really draws people in about MrBeast, and that's that he loves to give away money. Everyone likes to talk about how he's YouTube's biggest philanthropist. Now, sometimes it's just like really silly stuff where he's just giving away free stuff to his friends. And that can feel really fun to a lot of people because they think like, man, I wish I was MrBeast's best friend, then he would spend a bunch of money on me. And then maybe he could take me into a store and buy me whatever I want. Or his other videos are just him giving away money to people in need. So he loves to give away money to people who are homeless or people who are just having money problems. And he just loves seeing their reactions when he gives them money. And so a lot of people just love watching the stuff where they can see the reaction of everyday regular people who maybe are struggling to get by. And then they just get a huge sum of money. And then it's just like life-changing for them. And then of course you watch them tell their whole family about it and everyone's so excited. And I mean, it's really just aimed at being the most wholesome content as possible. Now there are a few downsides to being a channel where you are this famous for giving away this much money. Something I thought was funny, if you go to his About channel, right here, do not email me asking for money. You will be ignored and blocked. I just have to wonder how many emails he's gotten from random people being like, hey MrBeast, I'll be your best friend, can you send me some money? Or he probably gets tons of sob stories being like, man, I just lost my job, I'm really struggling with money, could you help me out? Like he's probably seen every form of internet beggar, which I feel like might frustrate a lot of people here because in order to just receive a ton of money from MrBeast, there's really only one criteria for getting that, and that's just be lucky. I guess live somewhere in his area and get lucky. Because there's very little you can do to increase your chances of receiving a bunch of money. Which I guess is kind of a good thing because then you don't have a lot of people just taking advantage of it. Overall, it just seems like MrBeast has really cracked the formula of how to make a viral video. And you can tell just by looking through all of these view counts that every single video he puts up is a viral hit. And another thing that's kind of funny about this channel is that this is his main YouTube channel that he's had ever since he was 13 years old. So like at the top of his video list, you know, it's a bunch of these huge, like high production, massive view count videos. But then as you keep scrolling down, you'll see a lot of his older videos, and a lot of them have still gotten huge view counts even after all of this time. I'm pretty sure most of them did not get that many views when they were uploaded. It was probably more so after he blew up, people have gone back and watched a lot of his older videos. But that's still kind of insane that his videos from a few years ago are still getting 30 million views. And so that makes it really hard to pinpoint when his channel really blew up. Because he was always making this kind of content, but it took a while for everyone to sort of find it and spread it around. And then of course the bigger he gets, the more money he gets, and then he puts the money back into the videos, making even bigger videos, bringing even more money, making bigger videos, and so on and so forth. But I was watching some of these older videos, and it's actually really funny because like it's the same channel, it's the same guys, but the videos are so different. Like some of these are just so casual, he's just hanging out with his friends. There's even a lot of swearing in some of these old videos, which just seems so strange compared to modern YouTube. That's funny, 5 years ago he made a video, 5 steps to becoming successful on YouTube. Well, he must have followed his own advice, but it took a little while after that. But to be honest, I make videos on how to be a successful YouTuber as well, and I wouldn't say that I'm really quite there yet. So there you have it. I mean, it's really not a big surprise why MrBeast is so popular. He uploads videos that nobody else can really replicate. I mean, when it comes to most types of content, when people see that there's a channel that's really successful, usually there's a whole bunch of copycats that follow. And so when you have a really low barrier to entry type content, it's hard for any single channel to get very far because if anybody can make it, then why would everybody be watching one channel for it? But when it comes to the content MrBeast puts up, there are very few people that have the budget or the production value to be able to put these massive videos together. And so he's basically got no competition when it comes to this kind of thing. But that is why MrBeast is the most successful YouTuber.